I want you to meet a great guy, a good friend of mine, a fine citizen, and a real leader in the city of Shreveport.
I grew up in a little town in southeastern Oklahoma named Heavener. And I lived a pretty clean life up there. There wasn't much trouble you could get into. You learned to swim in the creek, and you hunted quail, and you hunted doves and squirrels. And
the forces of the Allies must converge on Tokyo from every direction.
we first landed in Fiji, then Guadalcanal, Bougainville, and we ended up at the northernmost part of Luzon, which is a prairie, and that was when the war was over in September of 1945.
I met him April the 1st, 1940. I can remember the very moment. He was standing in front of the big chain cafeteria on Texas Street, and he was going in to have his lunch, and I followed him in. I saw some fellow looked like he'd be someone I'd want to model myself at, and we just happened to pick up some cinnamon rolls at the same time and sat down together, and it's been a great friendship ever since that event.
He was smooth in those days, and he's gotten smoother every year since.
He was looking for someone to put the polish on him and finishing touches. And of course, then he saw Lola, and she has done a fabulous job. As a matter of fact, it's almost worn her out, making Weir so slick.
After you wash and dress.
The way why he acts so much like a chairman. When he went to work for Arkla, a man named David Harris was chairman of Arkla and CEO. He was very loyal to Shreveport. He bought his glasses here, bought his suits here, and thank heaven he bought his insurance here. And I always thought he was a great man. But at any rate, Weir was in the mailroom at Arkla, but he was dreaming of getting out of the mailroom. And so one day, Mr. Harris sent down, they said, Mr. Harris wants to see you.
And so I scooted up to see Mr. Harris, and
Mr. Harris pushed his hat at him and said, son, do you know where I can get my hat cleaned? And so, of course, Don knew where to do that. But at any rate, he was so excited he didn't even look around at the drapes to see whether he's going to have to change them when he got to be chairman of the board of Arkla.
Clunk!
If you went in a room with 20 people, you'd pick out the most charming person in the room. The one that was best dressed, might have his hat on, he doesn't take it off too much. Brim up, that's how you'd know him. And if there were any women in there, they'd all be looking at him.
He says he's 81 years old. I find that hard to believe.
I thought he was 92. I'll swear at him. Rick, you've told me something. That's his thing, is to put on a good appearance and be in charge. The guy's got a 36 waist. Now that tells you either he's not eating or he's wearing a corset. I don't know. I swear I don't know which one it is.
You, I sense, value his friendship.
Well, I must not, all these things I'm saying about him, but I suppose I do. Yeah. He is a great guy. I don't think any of us can adequately describe this great man, Weir. But he must be great. He's honored by so many organizations. Even this, what'd you say?
Junior Achievement.
Okay, Junior Achievement.
Junior Achievement, if it hadn't been for Mr. Weir, I don't know whether we would have Junior Achievement here.
the reason I did and got sold on it, it looked to me like it might be the last fort or stronghold to do anything at all to keep our free enterprise system alive and viable. And that's the very reason I got into it.
He probably represents what junior achievement tries to do. Somebody who starts humbly, has a lot of raw material, and learns how to put it together to make a success.
We have hunted a lot, dove hunted, duck hunted, and you can pretty well tell when you hunt with a guy what kind of a fella he is. And Don is tops.
I like to see what hopefully I'll be like in X number of years, and he's one of the people I'd like to emulate. If I could be as healthy, as active mentally and physically, and care as much as he does, I would consider myself a very fortunate person.
Don Weir, I think, I would look upon him like a surrogate father. He is the kind of guy you can go to for advice. He's always there for you, has a quiet, gentle manner. I think that he rates right up there at the top of any man I've ever known.
I sense that, and when you reflect upon your life, the memories are pretty good.
Yes. Have a wonderful family, nice young daughter's family and a nice young son's family. They both reside here in Shreveport. That makes it worthwhile. I have a wonderful, lovable, supportive wife, always have had, and it's been great. I wouldn't trade it all.
Don Weir is one of Shreveport's finest citizens, and I'm glad he's living long enough that we can honor him adequately. A lot of people die off early. You never get to tell them what a great man they are. But I hope you tell Don Weir if you see him. I think he's a great man.
I wish Shreveport had 100 people like him. We'd be a far better place if we did.